When it comes to filmmaking, no genre has had more reinventions than horror. From the Texas Chainsaw Massacre becoming the blueprint for slashers after 1960's Psycho, The Exorcist instilling the occult into mainstream horror the same way Dawn of the Dead did for zombies, Alien and The Shining changing the sci-fi and psychological landscape, and last but not least, Sam Raimi's 1981 classic, The Evil Dead.
Cheryl?
An iconic piece of cinema that vitalized the cabin in the woods subgenre, but more importantly gave us some of the greatest sequels of all time.
Groovy.
In our modern era of reboots and remakes, Evil Dead has already been through a 3-season revival with the incredible Ash vs. Evil Dead TV show, and arguably the best reboot in recent years with 2013's Evil Dead.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
10 years after the franchise was last seen on the silver screen, we're treated to another soft reboot with Evildeadrise, an underwhelming but worthy addition to the franchise. After finding out she's pregnant, Beth pays a visit to her estranged sister Ellie in her dilapidated apartment complex. Upon arrival, she learns that Ellie's husband abandoned her and their 3 kids not long ago, with Beth never returning Ellie's calls for help throughout that time, further denting the sisters' relationship. While the kids are out on a pizza run, an earthquake strikes, opening a hole in the ground where the Naturum de Monto, aka the Necronomicon, lay to rest. One of the children, Danny, fascinated by the book, takes it home and unleashes the Kandarian demon upon the world of the living, forcing the family to band together and survive the night before the demons can
Swallow this.
Evildeadrise goes back to the franchise roots, keeping the plot as simple as can be. Necronomicon is found, someone reads the revival passage, and carnage ensues. How this film changes things up is by introducing a family dynamic we haven't seen before. What happens when a mother of 3 gets possessed? Sadly, the film fails to fully deliver on this premise due to how little effort is put on those established character dynamics.
You know you done fucked up, right? You know you done fucked up, right?
We never get to see how the sudden departure of their father affects the kids, except in one scene where Beth asks Ellie why her husband isn't home in front of them. They're then sent off to buy pizza and never bring it up, even amongst themselves. Simply doing so would have made the weight of losing their mother to demonic possession not only heavier, but we'd then have an inner conflict unique to each child upon which the Deadites could use to its advantage. And we all know how much Deadites love antagonizing.
You're so loud, you pathetic fuck! I will kill you like I killed your boy!
Other family dynamics that became missed opportunities were Ellie and Beth's estranged relationship, which I will admit is the most developed of the film in comparison to the rest, but even then, their reconciliation isn't fleshed out enough at the beginning to make the third act's emotionally charged payoff as big as the film wants it to be. Finally, we never get a sense of how strong the children's relationship is with their mother. This wouldn't be an issue if their reactions to her new aesthetic were drastically different, but they're pretty much the same, especially for the older kids, Bridget and Danny.
Mommy's with the maggots now.
Just these little details and tweaks could have made Evildeadrise a great film with a lot more weight behind the gut-wrenching moments and final confrontation. The movie's strong themes of motherhood and forgiveness shine through our main protagonist Beth, who's dealing with an unwanted pregnancy, although like the aforementioned characters, they could have used a bit more polish. Before moving on to the positives, I'll add that the characters can sometimes be dumbed down in service of the plot, making you ask questions like why the hell aren't they sticking together at all times, which isn't helped by some disappearing for entire sequences just to return when the plot needs them to. It's as if they were given the stupid treatment from Cabin in the Woods.
No matter what happens, we have to stay together. This isn't right. We should split up. We can cover more ground that way.
Yeah, good idea.
Really?
Let's move on to the positives. The franchise's change of setting from the woods to an apartment building was a great choice. It keeps the one location aspect of Evil Dead alive, while introducing new everyday elements like an elevator for example, to amplify the horror. The best parts of the film comes from characters roaming the hallways and underground parking, making mundane places fucking terrifying.
Just gives me the heebie-jeebies.
The horror is strongest during the third act when everything shifts into high gear with disturbing imagery that made my skin crawl, giving us the most unsettling evil entity of the franchise by a mile. Evildeadrise, although containing one-liner references meant for comedic moments, manages to keep a consistent, serious, and haunting tone to deliver them.
I'll swallow your soul!
Come get some.
Having the film take place over the course of a single night helped the breakneck pace, constantly moving the plot forward in disgusting fashion while retaining long build-ups and tension, never delivering unearned or cheap jump scares. I will praise the film for the insane amount of setups and payoffs it managed to deliver in 90 minutes, however falling into the same trap as Prey, where scenes felt exclusively like setups. This is most notable with the side character neighbors who are forgotten as fast as they are introduced, solely serving the purpose of conveniently dropping items our protagonists add to their inventory.
Ooh, I like this.
One of the most iconic parts of Evil Dead is the possession sequence, and this one does not disappoint. There's a lot of build-up and atmospheric horror surrounding it, also adding a modern spin, trading vines and branches for electrical wiring, all the while introducing us to a third version of the Necronomicon. However, the crown for the best possession sequence of the franchise still belongs to 2013's Evil Dead. On the character front, we have Beth, our main protagonist, Ellie, the Deadite mom, and the three kids, Danny, Bridget, and Cassie.
No, 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 no. Wait. Wait.
It's never too late to stop being a dick.
As I previously stated, the characters aren't exactly fleshed out, but thankfully our protagonist has the most going for her. Beth is incredibly likable, starting out as frail and uncertain, seeking the comfort of her sister, then thrown into the deep end, having to come out stronger. And trust me when I say she goes through the ringer. Beth manages to make the audience want more of her character, played incredibly by Lily Sullivan, who needs to be in way more films. She makes you root for her and rejoice when she finally breaks her mold, channeling her inner Ash Williams and Ellen Ripley.
Get away from her, you bitch!
Ellie, the Deadite mom, is a great antagonist fueled with terror by Alyssa Sutherland's outstanding performance. We get to understand whom she was as a parent in her particular situation, making it harder to watch her become a monster. The film makes Ellie menacing every time she's on screen, especially in the third act, turning her into one of the most memorable antagonists of the series.
Everybody here dies by dawn, Dad.
Bridget and Danny are the most generic of characters, solely defined by a specific trait, which, for those who've seen my 12 Angry Men video, know that having a character defined by a single trait can still lead to some intricate and entertaining outcomes. In Evil Dead Rise, however, we get the bare minimum.
Well, that sucks.
It also isn't helped by the average performances Gabrielle Etchells and Morgan Davies bring to the table. Cassie, the youngest child, was on the same level as Beth on the likability scale, and Nell Fisher pumped out a great performance to match. Her complicity with Beth was one of the highlights of the film, managing to convey a Ripley and Newt dynamic that felt natural. I'm happy to say the characters don't feel as if they're leeching off what came before, and even when there are callbacks to famous one-liners, everything feels earned and not just a ripoff, unlike a certain other reboot.
Come on. Do it.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Evil Dead Rise even goes the extra mile of creating its own memorable one-liners that I'm very certain will be quoted by Evil Dead fans in a couple of years. Finally, for those wondering, yes, there is a Bruce Campbell cameo. You'll know when you hear it.
Yo, she-bitch. Let's go.
The score is one of the weakest parts of the film, not bringing anything new to the franchise or the genre, sadly following the trend established with Insidious back in 2010 that still plagues mainstream horror. The overuse of strings in every goddamn track.
I can't take it anymore!
In the end, the film's score remains indistinguishable from any modern horror film that isn't auteur, with the only noteworthy part stemming from the recycling of what came before. Even though score has never been Evil Dead's strong suit, let's face it, Army of Darkness still has the best of the franchise.
You got that?
Albeit, the music is used incredibly well to build tension and atmosphere, mostly keeping a low profile, reeling you in for the big bone-chilling crescendos, coupled with disgustingly eerie sound design. To my surprise, the emotional scenes aren't manipulative and overdone with the score as a safety net. They're rather silent, or drowned by the noise of a chainsaw ripping through flesh. Evil Dead Rise is by far the best looking of the franchise, using Raimi's signature style and shots you'd think he was behind the camera. Add to that today's sleek production techniques and we have everything we wished Multiverse of Madness would be. The film is mostly composed of long takes that build tension with help from the aforementioned soundtrack. Unexpectedly, unlike prior Evil Dead outings, the movie rarely provides a sense of claustrophobia from its setting, due to its set design and use of wide or ultra-wide angle lenses.
Interesting.
The apartment complex's hallways always seem spacious, and the apartment itself is quite massive, so big that, as I said before, characters can disappear until the plot needs them. This sense of grandeur doesn't solely apply to the apartment, but the intro cabin in the woods sequence as well. The only sequences where claustrophobia is used to the film's advantage to elevate tension are the times characters are in the elevator. It's a testament to how good Lee Cronin's direction is, managing to craft fear and anxiety without relying on constant close-ups. Evil Dead Rise uses various lenses in creative ways throughout to keep the overall look fresh, from the fisheye lens through peepholes to ultra-wide angles in the underground parking, and macro close-ups for the more gruesome scenes. The film also boasts an incredible dark color palette and great practical effects with little to no CGI. Although it isn't as gore heavy as you'd expect, it will make you squirm with glass slowly penetrating skin, lingering a bit longer than usual on someone being stabbed, and of course, the fantastic use of a cheese grater. Did I personally enjoy the film? Yes and no. Yes, because I'm a massive Evil Dead fan, I had a great time watching it, and to see a franchise respected while being rebooted is basically a luxury these days.
He's out of line, but he's right.
No, because it had the capacity of being great if themes and dynamics were pushed a little bit more to the forefront with minute tweaks to the script.
We were on the verge of greatness. We were this close.
If you're a fan of Evil Dead and its type of horror, then you'll probably have a blast, especially if watched with friends on a movie night. For everyone else, I feel like this outing is mainstream enough, balancing gore and modern tropes to provide a unique experience compared to a lot of conventional horror we've gotten in recent years, and serves as a great introduction to the Evil Dead franchise.
Hail to the king, baby.
In the end, Evil Dead Rise was an underwhelming but welcome addition to the franchise that could have brought a lot more to the table if focus was put on characters and their dynamics. Nonetheless, its unexpected twists, riveting third act, great effects, and spine-chilling atmosphere will be enough for any Evil Dead fans and newcomers to digest, once again proving that the franchise is still alive and kicking.
Don't let it take my babies.
Thank you all for watching and sticking around this long. I hope you enjoyed the video. Do subscribe and drop a like if you did, and hopefully, I'll see you all next time.